Okay, that I like predators guy has, made another video asking me to, whatever, complete the intercourse. So, let's do some more.
The DNA would figure that out, and you'd have all these less victims, okay? You wouldn't have to go through 10...
The DNA would figure that out? I mean, your whole argument is based on the premise that the DNA is dumb, that it's a dumb molecule. So how does the DNA figure out that you're not being preyed upon? How does it figure that out? I mean, it's a obvious point to say that animals who are being preyed upon within that population, that the animals who put off more offspring will be selected for because more of their offspring will survive. But to say that it works the other way, and that once animals aren't being preyed upon, that animals who have fewer births are going to somehow be selected for, is stupid. I mean, unless you're gonna come at me and explain to me how, like, epigenetics or some other phantasmagorical theory of yours is going to allow the DNA to figure it out, well, bring me that argument, because it seems to be the part of the crux of what your theory against predation is based on, and it's bullshit. So...
yeah, whatever. First, yeah, the epigenetic stuff isn't my phantasmagorical theory that I'm defending. Regardless, okay, we could take deer populations, for example. Yeah, when it's good times, they have 3 or 4 young. 3. Sometimes there's triplets, a lot of triplets. Bad times, yeah, they have 1 foal thingy, doughy thing, whatever it is. And yeah, so I mean, and there's all kinds of examples throughout nature. Look, I charge for private tutoring on biology. If you don't understand the shorthand of me saying the DNA figures it out, all I'm saying is the DNA adjusts. Okay, the survivors in the future will be adjusted to the new reality. So in over a 3,000 year period, or 10,000 years, or even 500,000 years, a population will adjust to its environment and the amount of predation that is taking place. And if there's less predation, the reproductive rates will lower. So you could say there was 3 different colonies of human beings. One colony, they had babies when they were 13 years old, and each average female had 5 kids, and they were all starving to death all the time. They're not as likely to survive as a family or a group or a tribe that had only reproduced at say 16 and only had 5 kids per female, and blah blah blah. And that's how it works. Okay, over time, the ones with the more responsible birth rates, the more consistent with their environment, are likely to thrive, while the ones who are in a perpetual starvation state and disease state will not survive. It's that fucking simple. So it does work both ways. Nature will adjust. So I'm not even going to bother with your math section, because it's just nonsense. And like I said, you can't cut pieces of suffering out of here and try to do stupid equations. I think it's just pointless. The obvious point is that you could take something like mosquitoes or something and say, well, look, they got a high predation rate. Obviously, if those were conscious organisms, it would be grotesque. Okay, the vast majority of of what is created gets consumed by a predator. Very few have the opportunity to die of natural causes. So the organism doesn't benefit from that. It ends up with a shorter lifespan, a more prolific reproduction, and in turn probably less opportunity to acquire any of the sophisticated attributes that we've acquired, because that would require maturation and having time to do all that crap and raise a kid and teach a kid and do all that shit. So it's animals not blighted by predation that are more likely to become smart, like elephants and human beings and chimpanzees and gorillas and all that kind of stuff. Animals that can reduce the number of predators they have can invest a lot of time in their young, and so they can acquire more intricate features. So anyway, but your theory is just bullshit. That, you know, Galapagos tortoises are not going to be better off if you introduce a new predator. It's not going to make the turtles' lives better. It's only going to diminish them. Whether or not there's hawks that are killing the young, I didn't know we were going to count what's the egg stealers and every other kind of predation. But regardless, if there was no predators, okay, their birth rates would eventually accommodate their environment, and they would find a balance in terms of their reproduction versus what the consumables available.
Your argument fails. It sucks. It's dismal. It's stupid. And the idea that there's no predators in the Galapagos is stupid. There are predators in the Galapagos. There's predators that prey on Galapagos tortoises, which is partly to credit with their long lifespan.
Yeah, well, not mature tortoises. And regardless, like I said, if you introduced a new predator, you would not enhance the life of Galapagos tortoises. And the long life is kind of connected here. The reason why turtles, generally speaking, have long lives is likely because they are a very defensively built organism. They're not built for aggression, they're built for defense, to protect themselves from predation, okay? So, again, your argument fails. I think the animals probably, if you took a survey, the animals with the longest lifespan are likely animals who have reduced their number of predators.
Turtles in general have a really long lifespan, so your logic is even more broken there. You pick the longest living, one of the longest living reptiles on the planet just because it inhabits the Galapagos, and you believe that the Galapagos is...
Well, look, it's a pretty dramatic increase in longevity, though. Okay, if you lived 4 times as long, you'd be pretty fucking impressed with that. 4 times longer than the average tortoise, the average continental turtle.
That you draw this assumption, but it's broken. There are predators on the Galapagos. The Galapagos tortoises themselves are preyed upon by hawks, Galapagos hawks. There's also Galapagos crabs, there's Galapagos sea lions and seals, there's Galapagos fucking snakes and lizards. There's plenty of predators in the Galapagos. The fact that National Geographic didn't teach you about the Galapagos predators doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Yeah, whatever. I think that's just a silly argument. You know, as places go, it's rather barren of life forms. Has only a limited number of them. And there are very few, there are no large predators. That's just the way it is. Certainly sea lions are all over the world. They can swim in the ocean, okay, but they're not exactly walking across the deserts of the Galapagos taking down tortoises. So, whatever. Bogus argument.
There is no real biological necessity for the existence of such a system, so there's no way to...
There is a biological necessity for the system. Biological necessity for the system is a filter. That's the necessity of it. This system needs a filter. You might not think that the filter is smart enough, but the filter we would impose as humans will be no smarter. It will be stupider.
Yeah, whatever. There's no way to filter it, okay? It's consciousness left in jeopardy. There's no filter. Consciousness put in a circumstance of two mechanical ambitions: consumption and reproduction. It's unelegant and it's grotesque, and it's the magnitude of the waste is grotesque. So certainly it can be mitigated. Every time we take an animal into our house and domesticate it, we are mitigating against natural reality, which will brutalize that consciousness. So fuck you. You go ahead, love nature all you want. It's a false god. It has no brain, it has no soul, it has nothing. It's consumption and reproduction. To glorify that, you might as well glorify your big toe.